Hey guys, so video brochures and analytics. This continues to be a hot topic. You guys are obviously asking us more details and more specifics about this stuff. So I thought we'd have a conversation about what I believe is the most critical thing, is data safety. So if we're doing a mailing, which we do tons of, right? So somebody's going to send us a mailing list. We're going to process the mail. We're going to drop video mailers in.
Which right
we
here,
take the list.
Video mailer.
Yeah, we take the list, exactly. We take this, we'll send it back to the client with all the tracking numbers. It goes back to them. We then delete that mail list out of our system. It's gone, and it only happens in a controlled environment. It's in a computer system that doesn't have access to connectivity, and so it can't be stolen, right? Okay. Short of somebody showing up in here and doing a Mission Impossible and try to steal the list, right? Okay, highly unlikely. In cases of video brochures that are enabled with SIM chips to track data, you're taking this information, you're taking a list and sending it to some supplier, right? That then is now may or may not have developed a tool, so they may be using a third party to be able to gather the information that's being sent from the SIM chips.
Right.
And so these are pinging off all different types of servers and stuff. And then all this data is being pulled back to a piece of software on somebody's computer, right? Somebody's system that's now going to spit out these reports, right? When did they open it? How much did they view? Where are they?
Okay, and in many cases, some of the other suppliers are providing data to you based on the level that you purchase. So they'll say, we'll just give you analytics about, X. That doesn't mean they can't collect all the data. They just charge extra for you. So that data still lives somewhere.
It's not that they can't collect it. They're collecting it anyway because a SIM chip enabled piece, it sends one big batch of information.
Every time it's
sent. And in that big batch of information is the geo-positioning of where it came from.
Whether you paid to get that information or not, it's collected.
It's collected.
Right.
So the questions that we have lately, it's like, well, what's happening to the data? And then I'm like, I don't know what's happening to the data. That's why I'm not an advocate for this particular type of technology, because I'm not a fan of providing. Never mind if I choose to provide my data to Google or Apple or whomever, then I've chosen to do that. I've chosen to do that by saying I acknowledge the fact that this app does whatever it's going to do, right? Yeah. But when if I were to receive a video enabled or a SIM chip enabled video brochure in the mail and I open it, I have not had an opportunity to acknowledge that this thing is tracking me.
You haven't given consent.
Right. There's no consent given, right? And so in this particular case, now let's say I'm the marketer and you're the prospect. I've now did get your consent and provided your information, now detailed information. Your address may not. What if you're a celebrity and you have a third home somewhere?
Which we mail to.
Right, which we mail to all the time.
Yeah.
But and no one knows that you're even there, because that's the one place that you have a hidey hole that you can find some peace from the paparazzi.
It probably is not where you mailed it to, but it traveled to wherever that is. Right?
So then that data now comes back to this third party that you don't know what they're doing. You don't know if they're selling the data. You have no idea.
But they have the name, because the name is associated to
with
the SIM.
The piece that went. Exactly.
So
they'll piece it together.
They
It's
can
not
marry
that
it together.
it's very simple.
Right.
So to answer the questions, guys, I don't know what's happening to the data. And I think that you guys should really think hard about sending one of these pieces for the other videos that we've done about violating people's privacy and souring the experience, by this getting opened, and then all of a sudden your phone rings and you're like, you pick it up and it's a salesperson or somebody else saying, hey, I see you're looking at my piece.
You're looking at my stuff.
Yeah, that freaks people out. So apart from that whole deal, I think that it's pretty important to think about the consequences when you're providing someone's information to a third party that is most likely not in the country, that doesn't necessarily have to abide by privacy acts and data acts, things of that nature within this country.
And if you think about companies that you do share that data with, look, we've been in business for 30 years, but gaining the ability to think through this stuff happens just in a standard course of doing business. We have been fortunate enough to work with very successful large companies. Microsoft is one that everybody knows. And when we became Microsoft certified, the stack of legal documents and regulation and controls were significant, especially since we were going to be certified to mail. You have a tier if you just produce something, you have a tier if you mail, and then you have another tier if you handle financial information. We were not in a position where we were handling financial information, but we were certified to be able to mail. That was a very educational experience for us. Yeah. Let's say we were not Microsoft standard ready at the beginning of that process. We became that when we knew what the regulations were, and as a experience, it made us a better company. And so now we're very aware. I can't offer this piece to Microsoft and stay Microsoft qualified.
No, they won't. They're not going to do it.
It's not going to work. But we know that because we've jumped through the hoops to become certified, and we know what those qualifiers are, and that's been something we've learned over time. So smaller companies may not have that experience where we were there once, and now we understand what he's talking about. It's on this kind of a computer that can't be hacked into. Some of those security things are something our clients are fortunate enough to take advantage of because of the hoops we jumped through for Microsoft. It applies to everybody now. Yeah.
Look, to close this for you guys, here's what I suggest. If you decide to do a SIN chip enabled or smart video brochure that's going to track data, if you decide to go down that road, before you sign on the dotted line, I would ask the supplier to provide you their statement of data security.
Yeah.
And to be able to clearly outline how they're treating your data. The fact that they have a so-called secure server is not good enough.
That's one step.
Okay, but it's not, because it's going to it's secured, that nothing is secured. Okay, the 13-year-old kid with a can of Red Bull in a basement, hacked into the FBI's for computers. Okay, so that's the reality of it. So it's not secured, but at least if there's a protocol that you can read through, that at least provides you comfort that the person that's handling your data or your third-party data, your customers or clients' data, cares about privacy, and they acknowledge that they have to stay on top of the security with that data. So that's what I would say. So answer your question is, I'm not sure what's happening with these other suppliers with regards to how they handle the data. And because I can't find it on their websites and there's no disclosures of how they handle it, I'd be concerned. So if you're thinking about going on that road, make sure that you get that disclosure and you guys can actually read through it and you're comfortable with that.
Educate yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what we got for you this month, guys. And we've got some other cool stuff coming up. I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised. It's going to be, what would you call it, after the video brochure? Some other options.
Beyond the video brochure.
Yeah, so there'll be something like that coming out soon. I think you guys will find some interest. But anyway, take care.